All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the art of the great millstone, where I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today is January 22nd, 2022, Missile Monday. And as you can see, I have this article, from Truth Out, and it says, are nuclear armed nations entering a new arms race in 2024? Experts weigh in. So I'm just going to go into this article a little bit. Bring out a few scriptures. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. And it says, experts worry about a possible nuclear arms race as global instability and the threat of mass destruction loom large. It says, like waking up with a bad hangover, 2024 began with a geopolitical headaches and pains from the previous year's conflicts, chaos, and instability. Multiple wars in Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, human-caused climate and environmental crises, and concerns about democratic backsliding. Economic stress and social unrest marked the beginning of the new year. In 2024, a record number of national and parliamentary elections portends a consequential but uncertain year. Amidst compounding crises, the existential threat of nuclear war hangs over humanity like a silent, menacing smog that won't go away. Currently, 5 nuclear-armed nations, Russia, Israel, Pakistan, the United Kingdom, and the United States, are actively involved in military hostilities with another country. Today, the world's 9 nuclear-armed nations have roughly 12,500 nuclear weapons, including those awaiting dismantlement. And while the overall number has been cut sharply since peaking at more than 70,000 warheads in the mid-1980s, all 9 nations are upgrading or modernizing their arsenals. In 2022, they spent nearly $83 billion on nuclear weapons. It says, as the arsenals of nuclear-armed nations age, if they are being retired and dismantled, they are being replaced, redesigned, or otherwise modernized to remain usable. The United States is poised to spend as much as $2 trillion in the next 30 years to modernize its nuclear triad. So just before I continue reading, man, America does not have another 30 years, man, because this is way too much going on. Like, we're literally in the end, man. Now, it's like the apostle, coined this year the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, man. Like, we're in the end. Like, more and more prophecy, is coming to pass, and that's, one of the main prophecies that has to come to pass, the time of Jacob's trouble, but again, America does not have 30 years, man, and barely even has 5 years. So we'll see what happens, the rest of this year, possibly even next year. We just have to wait. So it says, bombers, submarines, long-range ballistic missiles. All 9 nuclear-armed nations are currently expanding or modernizing their arsenals. With roughly 500 warheads, China's nuclear stockpile while still a fraction of the United States or Russia's, is rapidly growing. Meanwhile, ongoing tensions between nuclear neighbors India and Pakistan, North Korea and South Korea, China and Taiwan underscore the risk of a nuclear confrontation. Says despite this, John Erath, Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation, says the possibility of nuclear war is very small, but hastened to add that the catastrophic dangers and potential consequences of even limited use of nuclear weapons cannot be ignored. Now, he's wrong, because nuclear war, the possibility of it isn't small. The possibility is extremely great, man. So he doesn't know what he's talking about, because obviously it says that, Russia is gonna, is gonna rise up. Russia is gonna take out America, man, because it's prophesied that Russia is going to destroy America, with fire. The bear is going to destroy Babylon, the whore. So while he's saying the possibility of nuclear war is small, I'm saying the possibility of nuclear war is great, because again, they didn't even mention, the Russian and Ukraine war. Well, it might, as I'm looking at this, it mentions it a little bit, but overall, I seen another article earlier, that's pretty much talking about, how Vladimir Putin, again, is threatening to use or could use nuclear weapons against Ukraine, but there would be casualties, because again, you have to think Ukraine borders Russia. So if, they were to, pretty much bomb the Ukraine, parts of Russia would still be hit. It's like, parts of Russia would, get hit and suffer mass casualties. But, again, this is the time we're in, man, where you have these nations that are gearing up, for war. Because if the possibility for nuclear war was small, these nations, including the United States, wouldn't be trying to spend, as much money as they're spending on trying to, up their nuclear arsenal, man. So this is a small thing, man. It's great. It says, in an interview with Truthout, Erath said that Russia is wielding its nuclear weapons in a very deliberate and controlled manner as a political tool to dissuade countries from aiding Ukraine. And again, they're not wrong, man. Because again, if any country is smart, they don't want to mess with Russia, man. Because again, they have one of, if not the most powerful nuclear missile in the world, man. The Sarmat, also known as, the Satan II. Like, man, Russia is a force to be reckoned with, man. That's all I can say. It says, if the war ended in a way in which Russia could claim some measure of victory that would normalize nuclear blackmail as an instrument of statecraft, providing a powerful incentive to acquire nuclear weapons, Erath said. The Ukraine war's outcome, he added, could set a pattern for future. Could set a pattern for international security dynamics for the rest of the 21st century. Erath argues, however, that nuclear weapons have limited military value. He says that if Russia, which has shown no reluctance to kill civilians or destroy infrastructure, had a use for a nuclear weapon, it would have used it already. Ultimately, nuclear weapons are not that useful to achieve military objectives, Erath said, especially if you're trying to take over somebody else's territory, or in the case of Gaza, eliminate Hamas and their military facilities. you do not do that by destroying and irradiating a densely populated area, Israel's nuclear arsenal, he noted, did nothing to prevent the October 7th Hamas attack. Erath encourages more dialogue between nuclear adversaries because talking is better than simply building more weapons all the time. Regarding what he called runaway spending habits of the U.S. government, Erath said that no matter one's political orientation, because it's like everyone should agree that we do not need to be throwing billions into nuclear weapons. Now, yeah, as he said, there needs to be more talking. Like, well, no, man, the time of talking is over, man. We're not in the time of talking anymore, man. It's wartime, man. It's wartime. Now, yeah, there's billions of dollars that don't need to be spent on, these nuclear weapons, but they're gonna do it anyway, man, because it's the plans of the elites. Ultimately, it's the plans of the Lord, that these things happen. Because again, prophecy is going to take place where these other nations are going to turn on America and they're going to shoot their missiles over here as well. Slakia. Just going to read a little more and then I'm going to bring out the scriptures. It says, in the summer of 2023, President Vladimir Putin claimed Russia had deployed short-range nuclear missiles to its ally Belarus, justifying the move by pointing to the United States' decades-old practice of staging nuclear weapons in 5 NATO nations. An estimated 100 new B-61, 12 U.S. nuclear gravity bombs are expected to be deployed on NATO bases, possibly in 2024. In a recent essay, T. Aristotle, Slakia, however you pronounce it, a weapons of mass destruction senior researcher at the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, examined how Russia's war in Ukraine is driving militarization and increased support for NATO, including, for NATO nuclear deterrence. Aristotle outlined Poland's willingness to join its NATO allies, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and Turkey, in hosting U.S. nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Belarus's defense minister has suggested his country is prepared to support or enable the use of Russian nuclear weapons. Belarus says the position is meant to deter Poland. Yeah, man, that's all I'm going to read on that, man. It's kind of a long article. You can check it out, from the truth out. But yeah, man, that's the time that we're in, man. We're in a time of war right now, and it's only going to, ramp up even more, So I'm going to start in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54 and verse 16. It says, I have created, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his works. And they have created the waster to destroy. And yeah, man, as always, this is going into, those scientists, that are developing these nuclear weapons that are going to be used during World War III. And as you can see, it says, there's pretty much 9 nations that are nuclear armed, man. And every nuclear missile that is on this earth is going to be used. Not one of them is going to be spared. So I'm going to go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, and verse 1, and it says, Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. And yeah, man, these other nations, even America's allies, they're ultimately going to turn on her and they're going to shoot their missiles as well, man. Because something is going to take place to where these, every nation is going to be angry at America, the pretty much, all these countries that are against America, they're already angry, but these other nations, are going to turn on her as well, man. Because ultimately, all these nations, they hate America, man. They know America is Babylon, but prophecy is going to play out. This place is going to be destroyed. So, I'm going to go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and I'm just going to get straight to the point, man. Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and verse 8, it says, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And that's the time that we're in, man. We're in a time of hate. We're in a time of war, man. Because that's all you're hearing about is, war is going on. Russia and Ukraine are still at war. You have, those Israelis, going against, the Hamas group. And, those rebels over there, man. That's all you're hearing about is war and rumors of war. Is going back to, Matthew 24, which, I'm going to grab that. So this is the book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6, and it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And yeah, man, these things have to come to pass, man, because it's all prophecy, because it's ultimately all these things are just a build up to the second coming of our Lord Yahushua, because he's going to come back in the midst of chaos, while war is going on, man. He's pretty much going to come back to finish the job, So now I'm going to get Slucky. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. And I'm going to start at verse 11. It says, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at her, and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. And yeah, man, all these nations are going to turn on America. All these nations, they're going to shoot their missiles over here, and they're going to destroy this land. And that's what this is talking about, man. Because these people, they're going to see it is going to be televised, man. These other nations are going to see the destruction of America, man. And even then, like they say, they shall hiss at her plagues, because again, man, just, they're going to see that destruction. America is going to be a desert, man. Going back to Isaiah chapter 34, it describes how America is going to look, after this destruction takes place, because no man is ever going to inhabit this land again, only desert creatures, So, let me see. I'm going to get the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse 22. And it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. And it is drawn, and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. So yeah, man, the Lord is only going to allow the elites to get so far with their New World Order before ultimately, he has these other nations shoot their missiles, and ultimately sending our Lord back, to also aid in destroying this place, man, because ultimately it's the Lord, that's, going to destroy it anyway, because, his spirit are going to be in these missiles, man. That's why, ultimately, I'm just going to get it, man, the book of Joel, and I'm going to end it on this. It's the book of Joel, chapter 2, and verse 1. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. Yeah, man, I just want to see what it says, see what it says for people. No, doesn't say anything, but ultimately, those people, it's talking about those nuclear missiles, man. Verse 3, it says, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. And yeah, man, once this, those missiles are launched, man, they're going to hit their targets, from New York to California. This entire land is going to be engulfed in flames, man. Because that's America's judgment, to be destroyed by fire, because again, the sins of this place have reached unto heaven, man. And just like it says, nothing is going to escape these missiles, man. Only the elect of the nation of Israel are going to be delivered, from the destruction. The elites, they're going to be preserved. The Lord is going to allow them to escape, to go into their bunkers, wherever they're going to be hiding out, to, be the first fruits of slavery, once the Lord pretty much takes, over the earth, and establishes his kingdom, man. So that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till the next time I see you, Shalom.